This video was made with the invaluable assistance of my close friend, the talented creator behind the esoteric Dixie Dharma channel. Let's continue to grow our community together by joining the channel of this remarkable individual. Additionally, I invite you to join my newly established channel also on Telegram. Let's embark on this journey together. What we may refer to as right-wing Buddhism is something that doesn't make a lot of sense to people on both the left and the right, due to a very caricatured version of Buddhism that is so common in the West. To most, it seems very contradictory that rightist thought could coincide with Buddhism. Let's explore this a bit. As Buddhists, we first and foremost hold bodhicitta. We operate for the benefit of all sentient beings. All actions, no matter what they may look like on the outer level, are performed with this intention. To many leftists, the idea of bodhicitta needs to look a particular way. It needs to be indiscriminate acceptance, unthinking compassion, and blind love. It also should never be offensive and should always be concerned about your immediate feelings. These sorts of views stem from a lack of understanding of skillful means and the reality that what is most compassionate in any given situation is relative to the circumstances, which very well could include actions that appear quite harsh or just unappealing to the sheltered modern mind. These types definitely don't have any conception of wrathful bodhicitta or what may be conceived of as radical or extreme behavior. Also, there appears to be an overemphasis on what amounts to short-term happiness, as opposed to thorough fulfillment and genuine spiritual progress, which often includes great struggle and inner turmoil. Now, there is a reason why Buddhism was and is so attractive to the peace, love and happiness types. I mean, again, bodhicitta is the intent to work towards the benefit of all sentient beings. So yes, indeed, love is the core of this. It is very interesting how so many people who identify as right-wingers view the concepts of love and compassion. I see a lot of guys stressing the importance of being masculine to the point of misconstruing it with wanton cruelty, unthinking brutality, or other unskillful takes. We all know how society promotes weak mentalities, soft lifestyles, and just generally saps willpower. It is more than fair to say that a response to this is healthy and needed. What we need to do, though, is understand the difference between conscious response and dense reactionarism. I always stress this because transcending polarization is paramount to developing sophisticated thought and becoming the higher man. We want to be well-rounded, we want to be complete. Being balanced does not mean you are lesser. This is not an RPG where you lose points in strength if you add points in mindfulness. It is actually the opposite. Everything works together. It is all interdependent. Beyond this, if you look to the lives of our ancestors, to the greats of our past, you will see a common theme amongst very many of them: love and compassion. The complete man is not lopsided in his virtue. He does not sacrifice strength in conflict by displaying affection and compassion to his woman, or a passerby, or a stray animal, or even his enemy when circumstances permit. He loses no courage or prowess by holding pure intention and love. We see a refinement of mind and depth of heart in so many of our heroes. The greatest men of our past knew how to synthesize the dominating spirit of the conqueror with the wholesome warmth of a gentleman. The true aristocrat is worthy of his status at the fundamental level of being. He is legitimately elite. He is a political and social sovereign because he is a spiritual sovereign, because he has subdued his lower nature and is no longer a slave to base desires and reactionary impulses. He wields his authority with an equanimous mind and reigns for the benefit of all, regardless of whether or not his people always recognize this. In fact, it is very natural that they would not understand this due to the inherent discrepancy between plebeian and elite intellect. Still, this does not change the truth of the matter or the intention at the heart of the aristocrats' actions. Here we may circle back round to skillful means and stress the importance of a discerning mind when it comes to determining what is the most compassionate action at a given time. We can say with confidence that modernity is a disease of the mind that inculcates a great many delusional maxims into the worldview of the masses. Equality, democracy, so-called human rights. I don't think I need to list them here. This being the case, if we wish to operate more effectively, then it is obvious that we must extricate ourselves from these delusional narratives while simultaneously gaining a more accurate understanding of how reality actually operates. There are very many politically incorrect ideas and taboo methods that, when removing the veil of modernity, may actually be understood to be much more compassionate and skillful in benefiting all sentient beings than people might would think. After all, is it really compassionate to allow irresponsible people to have power over the direction of a nation? Yet, is this not what democracy promotes? Is it compassionate to force cultural diversity in the name of equality when this results in increased social unrest in the short term and an inevitable large-scale violent reaction in the long term? Is it compassionate to invert hierarchy and cast aside merit because of some ungrounded notions such as human rights? All of this is very relevant to take into consideration when contemplating bodhicitta, because how can one act in a way that is of greatest benefit if one is laboring under false views? Buddhism stresses the mind above all else because the mind is prior to all things within our experience of reality. So, if we have so many false beliefs and corrupt understandings, how can we hope to have sharp and accurate discernment? And how can we hope to really, genuinely be acting in the best interest of all sentient beings? This is why the battle against modernity, first and foremost modernity at the level of paradigm, is a very spiritual endeavor. This is how we make the pursuit of sharpening the mind through the study of philosophy and practice in Dharma.